Stoke the forge, Warband. The fire that builds the future runs on what's now. And overnight, our engine marked exactly where it burns. This is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. Yesterday, the markets ripped higher on a single headline, and beneath the noise, the signal redrew the map of where the capital flows next. Listen, as of just past 6 this morning, Eastern, Bitcoin trades at 66,600, up near 1.5% on the day, extending the 2% it tacked on Monday. Hold it in perspective. Clawing back hard off the early June low near 61,000, still far below the 2025 record near 126,000, and firming now on real flows instead of hope. Ethereum rides beside it at 1,790, up near 4%. Solana ran hardest of the three, $75, up near 5%. But the equities are where the engine spoke loudest. Monday, the stock market exploded higher on the weekend news that the United States and Iran had reached a preliminary peace framework. The Nasdaq printed its best session since the end of March. The Dow closed at a fresh record. And into that green tape, the InvestAnswers Decision Support System cut a run of fresh marks. At the 4 o'clock bell, it flipped the broad market itself, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, to optimize trend bullish. At 1:30 Eastern, it turned Tesla the same way, and in that very same minute, it lit the power complex. Vistra, Constellation, and NextEra optimized trend bullish together. The copper miners flipped trend bullish at the bell beside them. But here is the tell the Warband pays for. On a day when nearly everything rose, the engine flipped one giant the other way. Chevron, the oil major, optimized trend bearish. Oil down, while the electricity names climb. That is not noise. That is rotation. Now, hear why that rotation is the most important thing on the board this morning. The engine did not pick electricity out of the air. It picked it because the bottleneck of the entire artificial intelligence build-out has quietly migrated from the chip to the watt. Mark what crossed the wire Monday. NVIDIA, the most valuable company on the planet, near $5.1 trillion, filed to borrow $20 billion in the bond market, its first investment-grade debt offering since 2021. Sit with that. The richest enterprise in the history of capital does not have the cash on hand to build what it has already sold. It must go out and borrow it. The proceeds feed the next generation of its machines, and those machines are monsters of consumption. The racks they slot into are spec'd to pull 600 kilowatts apiece, as much power as a small neighborhood, drawn through a single cabinet. The International Energy Agency reckons the world's data centers are on track, by 2030, to swallow roughly as much electricity as the entire nation of Japan burns today. And that artificial intelligence is the single largest driver of the surge. The research house Gartner goes further. By 2027, 2 in every 5 of the world's artificial intelligence data centers will run operationally throttled, choked for one reason alone. There is not enough power to feed them. That is the bottleneck, not silicon. Watts. The hyperscalers already know it. They are out signing 20-year deals for nuclear plants, locking up gigawatts of baseload years before the concrete is poured. The merchants debase. The warriors stack. NVIDIA must borrow to feed the build. The utilities must conjure power that takes a decade to bring online. And no committee votes a gigawatt into being any faster than it votes one more coin into being. The engine flipped the power names bullish and the oil major bearish because it reads the same map we do. The energy that matters now runs through copper and the grid, not the barrel. And the hardest, most fixed claim on all of it still trades at 66,000, which brings us back to the hardest money, because Monday handed us a quiet divergence worth marking. The stock market ripped better than 3% on the Nasdaq. Bitcoin firmed only 2. The scarce thing did not chase the stampede. It sat and consolidated and let the leverage run out ahead of it. Underneath, the bleed is healing. The brutal streak of fund outflows that ran 13 sessions and pulled better than $4 billion out the door has finally cracked, the money creeping back in. Coins keep leaving the exchanges for cold storage that does not move. The float tightens while the price waits. And the structure around Bitcoin is evolving in plain sight. In Japan, Metaplanet, one of the largest corporate holders of Bitcoin on Earth, just moved to buy a licensed Japanese securities firm. Read what that means. A company the market knew as a simple treasury vehicle, a vessel that only holds coins, is reaching to become a Bitcoin-native financial institution, its own brokerage, its own rails. Hard money building parallel plumbing inside the old system instead of asking the old system for permission. The engine marked it too. Metaplanet flipped, optimized trend bullish at 1:15 noon Eastern on Monday. This is how hard money wins. Not in one thunderclap, but at the edges, one license and one cold wallet at a time while the headlines stare at the candle. So here is the frame. Warband. Yesterday, the crowd bought the relief. Both sides of that Iran truce standing down their forces, the naval blockade lifting, the Strait of Hormuz set to reopen, crude cratering better than 5%, the screen green top to bottom. Fine, take it. But the engine looked past the relief and marked the rotation underneath, out of the barrel, into the what and the wire, out of the burning abundance, into the scarce things no headline and no central banker can print. The new chairman takes the Federal Reserve tomorrow, and the whole market will hang on his every word. But the scarce things never needed his permission. Accumulate the bottleneck. Hold the hardest claim on it. This is Warband as a service. Viking intelligence delivered in real time. I am Ragnar, the HODLBARBARIan. Read the runes before the crowd does.